a very good evening and welcome to tonight's panel discussion. It's for the World Sports Betting Matchem Stakes. It's almost the start of the Cape feature season. It comes as a bit of a surprise because the year seems to have gone so quickly, and yet here we are coming out with the Matchem Stakes brought to you by World Sports Betting. It's a fantastic card that we've got on offer. There are 8 races, and the highlight of the day, obviously, other than the markets, the Poiki competitions, the Springboks taking on the All Blacks, that might not be the highlight. But we've also got a 300,000 Rand carryover to the Pick 6, and we're expecting that pool to get close to 1.5 million Rand. I think it possibly could go a little bit higher than that, and we might well be able to get it to the 2 million Rand. I'm going to introduce the panel from the far right. We've got Fiona Ramsden. Fee, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to seeing these top guns out on Saturday.
Some great horses, absolutely, and really is a nice pointer to some of the big races coming up. Brett Crawford, after a season that certainly was a decent one for you, finishing quite high up on the log again. Nice card to start the Cape season officially.
Oh, very much looking forward to it. So I haven't got runners, but nice to see what the opposition looks like.
I was wondering what your plans were in the afternoon, because you got runners up to the 4th race, and you obviously got a luncheon appointment or something after that.
No, I'll be poiking.
Are you poiking? Oh, okay. Candice, thanks very much for joining us.
Pleasure, Grant. It's nice to be here.
You've got a couple of nice runners on the day.
Yeah, I've got some nice runners all starting out for the season. I'm looking forward to the season ahead now, and yeah, it's good racing on Saturday, so we look forward to that.
The crowds just in the Durbanville have been quite decent. Obviously, the market's created quite a nice vibe there, but we know with the Jockeys Challenge, it is a charity fundraiser. They've all got sponsors. They're going to be running down the track as well. We'll do a bit of a form study on them as well, but Aldo looks to be about a 4 to 10 shot. In terms of the record, as you see it, with the big guns coming out, great racing.
Yeah, fantastic racing, and I think a catchable Pick 6 and exotics with those good horses running at conditions, weights, and good to get the summer season started now. Obviously, there's still a few months till the big group ones, but all the big horses stepping out, so going to be a great race day.
Well, let's go straight into the card. We're going to go through races 1 and 2 fairly quickly, because we are going to concentrate on the Pick 6, because we feel that that is a pool that we can get to the 2 million Rand mark. Great to have World Sports Betting sponsoring the day again, and we're looking forward to some fantastic racing. Straight into race 1. It's the World Sports Betting Bet with the Best maiden plate over 1,250 metres. And here we've got Brett Crawford with a couple of runners. In fact, we'll start with him because he's got 3, and some of them unraced. Brett, any of your runners that need to be included in quartets and possibly bipods?
Grant, obviously Louisa May ran a great race on debut. I think she's come on from that. She's drawn exceptionally well. So she's a filly I think will be a massive runner. The other 2 fillies are going to need their outings. They're both inexperienced. They haven't had much grass work, so they're both going to need the run. But Louisa May, I think, could be a good start to the day.
Would you bank her in your bipod?
I would.
All right, so that could be a nice start there as well. Candice, you've got a couple of runners. When and How is one of them. You've also got Dream a Dream. And again, Jackson 1 and Elusive Fort. How are they going?
Yeah, Grant, they're both first-timers. They're both going to need it. Both looking for a little bit further too. And When and How, she hasn't even been to Durbanville or been on the grass, so she's really going to need the experience first time out. And the other filly, I think, will be better suited to further. So I'm not really expecting too much from my 2 first time out.
All right, Fee, in terms of selections, I know you've got Pitt's comments for the first couple of races. He's going to join us a little bit later. How did you see race 1 panning out?
Well, I've gone for the obvious number 9 Fluttering for Marshall's runner with Anton Marcus up. Looks to be a promising sort. But I do think Brett's Louisa May is going to be a big runner here. Smart debut and definitely more to come.
Justin, I'm going to leave you with the last call most times tonight. So don't feel, I'm not because I don't want your opinion, but you get the opportunity to sum up some of the comments from the other panelists as well. Obviously, you got the favourite Fluttering, who could be hard to beat, but Brett comments very favourable for Louisa May.
Yeah, I thought Fluttering is the favourite. I thought when just looking at the profile of the race that Louisa May would have that title, but I think she'll be the horse to beat from draw 3. Good run behind Snow Dancer's sister Juniper Spring, who's quite highly rated. And I think Brett's horses we've seen through the last few weeks, they improve with that second run. So I think those 2 to fight it out. And Joey's filly, Au Revoir, she was part of the Mayfair dispersal. She's a very nice filly, good debut a long time ago. Joey's horses have been a little bit off the boil, but they'll be coming to hand. So watch out for this one, doing good work late, and then it's the next start or 2 after that.
You'd think that she's pretty fit, Au Revoir. I think she's the dark horse in the race because she was nominated to run, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and was scratched. And obviously she comes back now, so that extra time maybe even got her slightly fitter than what she was on that occasion, so she might be a bit of value.
Absolutely, I think those 3, the winner will definitely come from there, then I think they'll find it out.
All right, let's move on to race number 2. That's going to be the first leg of the Place Accumulator. This is the World Sports Betting free live streaming. This is a maiden plate over 1,250 metres. And again, Brett Crawford's got a runner, and that's best day of my life. Decent debut, the improver in the field. Looks to have a nice chance here, Brett, because wasn't far back behind. It looks to be quite a nice maiden race.
Very much so, Grant. He ran a very good race on debut. He's come on a lot. I think he's going to improve. For me, though, I think Justin's horse is definitely going to be the horse to beat. He is drawn badly, which obviously is in my favour, but he comes from very strong form line. I think in the race he ran, the 3rd, 4th and 5th horses have all come out to win. So very strong form line from Give Me the Rain. But you can maybe play the swingers, exactors and quartets with Best Day of My Life.
He's an interesting runner, Give Me the Rain, because he's out of a Galileo mare, and you would have thought that maybe wanting it a little bit further, and obviously ran a cracker on debut, albeit maybe on the short side, so certainly one that needs to be put into most calculations there as well. Candice, you've got 4 Dragon Power. Has formed to be competitive?
Yeah, Grant, he's a fairly consistent sort. I think he'd probably be better suited to the 1200. I think the 1000's a little bit quick, and it was fairly. I think he'll be a better horse in the firmer going. He needs to strengthen up a little bit. He's still a little bit weak, this horse, and he needs a little bit more time, I think. But he certainly can be a horse that finishes in the money on Saturday again. I think he's pretty consistent, and he'll certainly be thereabouts again.
Right, Justin, the question to you is, I'm going to say, is Give Me the Rain a PA banker, or would you throw in a horse like Candice's?
I think it's the best bet on the card myself. Very impressed with the debut run. He flashed up on the inside, final 421 and 9, which is very quick. And as Brett touched on, that race is one of the form races, along with Pleased to Meet You's maiden win of the season. I know that Kirari horse, Rip It Up, ran 3rd, and he won next start, and then won in the handicap straight out the maidens. So very strong form line, bad draw, but we've seen a couple of horses winning from deep draws over these shorter trips at Durbanville, if they're good enough. And I think he'll win from probably Brett's horse, Best Day of My Life, and then horses like Dragon Power and Larry Jack that are consistent in thereabouts. They'll be in the minor money spots.
Pair-wise, if you were to take for Mark Equine or a
Just
Green Street
banker,
Bloodstock PA,
yes.
banker.
Banker 8, yes.
Fee, where are you going on this race?
I'm going to go Give Me the Rain, although he's got a bad draw from Dragon Power. Like Dragon Power a lot, I think has formed to be competitive here under Aldo. And Pete Steyn, he's going to step in a moment. He hasn't got runners on the day, but I have got his PA selections for the day. He's going race 2, 5 and 8, race 3 is banking 2, race 4, 4 and 5, race 5, 2 and 9, race 6, 1 and 8, race 7, 1 and 3, and race 8, he's got 10 and 13.
All right, there we go. Those are the numbers that Pete Steyn's looking at for the Place Accumulator. We'll have him on shortly. We'll be hearing it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. And we'll be moving on to the first leg of the Pick 6. Now, as I said, 300,000 Rand is lining up for us as a carryover into the Pick 6 Perm. And that's really the way we should be focusing our attention in terms of the day. And it starts off with a cracking race as well as a progress plate. But it sees a couple of absolute top sorts lining up. The return to the track of Casimir, One World, who was so impressive last time out. You've got the likes of More Magic, who's a recent winner, who looks to have quite a lot of scope for improvement too. And Green Jacket, course and distant winner, who may well have more to come as well. A lot of people are going to be siding and maybe saying, well, maybe the first leg of the Pick 6, the carryover Pick 6, is a banking opportunity. I'm going to go straight to you, Justin. One World, is he a banker?
Look, I always go against the pool when I play these type of Pick 6s because that's how they pay. So I've put in Casimir as well because he is better weighted and he is the older horse. But I do think One World is on target for the Guineas. He looked like that after his debut win. If we're going to play devil's advocates, I think the running of the Langerman wasn't the strongest, to be fair. Frank Lloyd Wright was a maiden and second, and I think Black Indy ran 4th, and he's won a maiden, but it's not exactly quite group race material, those guys. Well, they hadn't shown it at that stage anyway. But he does have that look of a proper Guineas horse, stunning son of Captain L. He's got all the ability. First run back is obviously the question mark, and Casimir, as I say, does have him by two and a bit lengths at the weights. Both coming off rests. Usually in these races, class comes to the fore, so I think the winner will probably be One World, but Casimir will give him a big run for his money.
Progress plates tend to favour the top weights, as they do. However, the question mark I'm going to ask you as well with Casimir is 1400. Coming out of that, he's been showing some decent sprint form, but now he goes to 1400. First up after a rest. You think that's the type of trip he's going to want?
It's got to be a question mark. Obviously, he ran 3 and a bit behind, or just under 4 lengths behind Undercover Agent over the trip when he was in peak condition. But he is a year older now, and he's related to Africa Burn and the Slade, and they went that type of trip. Although he is obviously a Captain L, but I do think he'll be a horse that does get 1400 this year as a 4-year-old. So the question mark obviously being, is he going to be fit enough for his first run back? But I think same question applies to 2. So it'll be an interesting race between them. I think One World might just get the better of him, but big respect for One, and he goes in the pick 6.
Certainly One World's proven himself over the 1500 with the Langerman. Candice, you sending out more Magic. Obviously, this is a tough ask for him straight out of the maidens.
Yeah, Grant, both of my horses, More Magic and Fabian, coming off a break, both coming off being gelded as well, first run back after gelding. More Magic, he took a while to win his maiden, but he's not a bad horse. He's a fair sort, but I think he's pretty much thrown in the deep end here, and I think he's going to find it tough in a race like this. And possibly needing his first run back as well, and I think also probably a better horse over a little bit further. Fabian, really a nice horse. He's a lovely horse. He's done really well with his gelding. He's doing really well at home at the moment. I think 14 is a good trip for him, although in saying that I would love to have brought him back over a 12 first run back, but there just hasn't been one, unfortunately, so this is where we are, and he's certainly a horse that can finish in the money at the weights. I think even though he's not that well in, I think with 53 on his back, he's certainly a horse that can finish in the money, and I think he's got a bright future ahead of him.
In terms of Candice taking a pick 6, would you be banking One World, or would you also throw in a horse like Casimir?
Yeah, I think you probably have to put Casimir in. One World I know you said that it wasn't the strongest of field in the Langerman, but it was just the way that he won that day, that he was exceedingly impressive, and he's a beautiful looking horse. He's a lovely, big, strong Captain L, and a good galloping horse, and I think Anton will probably have him right up there again on Saturday. The track's running pretty fast at Durbanville, and I think it will probably suit him the way they'll end up running the race. So you could probably take your chances and banker him, but yeah, Casimir will definitely be right there too.
Justin, just going back to you quickly, I know you're quite close with the Snaith Yard and that. This is the first time that this horse is coming back to the track being gelded. Is the word from the yard pretty strong that the gelding's done the trick?
Yes, and that he'll get the trip, and that he's relatively fit as well. So I don't think those are any concerns. He's going to run, he'll make One World pick up his feet, I'm sure, but I think we'll see how classy he is, One World. As I say, slight preference for him, Casimir to really trouble him though.
All right, great stuff. Just in terms of what Justin said earlier on as well, yes, the Slade has won up to 1,800 metres. Africa Burn has won up to 1,400 metres, but he was placed in the Guineas at Group 1 level as well. So maybe there could be a chance that this horse does get the 1,400. Brett, you don't have a runner here, but in terms of seeing these 2 top horses come out, who would you be siding with?
Grant, I think One World has the potential of being a very special horse. But obviously, at the end of the day, he's now stepping up first time against older horses. And I think most of us know that it's not an easy task for a 3-year-old taking on older horses. There's only, 2 kilos between them. Casimir, I think, very interesting. The gelding's bound to have improved him. He's the only horse in the race that's run, if you look at his last 2 runs, Undercover Agent and Bold Respect, both Group 1 winners. So, I think Casimir is a huge runner. I have the utmost respect for One World, but I don't think he's going to get it his own way.
All right, in your terms of your pick 6, you put both in?
Definitely.
Fee, how are you seeing the race pan out?
I'm in the camp of One World. I think he's a smashing-looking Captain L. I think he's done everything quite classy so far, 3 from 3, and with Anton Marcus up, I think he's got lots in his favour, and I think Vaughan will have him fit enough first time, and obviously Casimir to be respected. And I also like a little bit of Snaith's other runner, Green Jacket. I think there's a bit more to come from him.
In terms of the other runners, is there anything else that could possibly threaten, or we 2-horse race, boat race?
I think this horse, Green Jacket, has got a big future. He's getting 6 kilos from One World. Obviously, at the weights now, the handicappers haven't had a chance to get to him after 1 win, but getting 6 kilos a lot, it's 12 pounds. So he has to run like a 95, 97 to get to grips with One World, and he might be that in the future. I think it's probably a little bit short for him. So I think he'll be staying on to the money, but for people looking to play even wider, maybe he goes in. But I think the 1 and 2 have it as a boat race.
All right, just in terms of wanting the Snaith selections, that Justin will be on understarters orders along with you, Justin, for Mark, and
Jonathan,
Justin Snaith. There's Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Okay, we'll be on, so you'll get the Snaith information on understarters orders on Saturday as well, if we haven't brought you that type of info now. But Justin will provide quite a lot of that for us as well. Let's move on to race number 4. And this is the World Sports Betting Best Prices. And our first maiden plate, this is 1,600 metres, and it is also the opening leg of the jackpot. Now, Brett has got a couple of runners. In fact, he's got 2 runners. Candice also has 2 runners, so it'll be great to get their information as well. So I'll start straight with you, Brett. I know you are a big Depeche Mode fan, so I'm not sure whether you had any influence in naming number 1.
No, I didn't.
What do you make of his chances? Her chances. Her last run was her best, and obviously she's still improving.
Oh, granted, it was her second run with blinkers. She showed the improvement with the blinkers. But, you know, her form line, what you see is what you get. She's not going to be a big improver. I think Candice's filly comes off very good form. I think she's a filly that's on the up. So for me, she's going to be the filly to beat. Ruby Two Shoes, I think, will run a much improved race. I think she's crying for the extra distance, and she would definitely be a filly I'd put in the quartet. But I personally think that Candice's filly could be very close to being a banker on the day.
All right, Computer Form's forecast betting has Depeche at 9-2, has Ruby Two Shoes at 7-1. Should that be the other way around?
No, look, Depeche is, you know, she's in good form at the moment. So, you know, the betting's probably right. Ruby Two Shoes still got a bit to learn. So, you know, out of the two, there's not much between them, but, you know, Depeche is in good form at the moment.
Candice, you've obviously got a very fancied runner here in the form of Nastigal, and also Starfighter, who looks to be one that could improve going the trip now as well. But let's talk about Nastigal first. Looks to be the right horse in the race.
Yeah, Grant, I thought she'd have a good winning chance last time, and she ended up racing wide, and she got quite a bad bump on the turn, and things just didn't quite go right for her that day. And Anton also came back and said he thinks she would prefer the mile. So we've got her in the mile. She's reasonably well drawn today, and I think in this field, I would like to think she's got a good winning chance there. She's a big, strong filly, and she's got ability. So looking at this field just on paper and what she's been doing at home, I would think she'd have a good winning chance. The other filly, Starfighter, she's not a bad filly. She's not really very fashionably bred, but her first debut run was a good run. She ran on really well over the 12. I think I've put her in a mile. I think she will be better off over a little bit of ground. Might be just a touch too far for a second start, but she shows good work at home, Grant. And Aldo's suitably impressed with her. She's not got a draw here. She's drawn 8 out of 8, but I mean it's not a big field, and she's certainly a filly that can surprise.
So no surprise if she won it.
I wouldn't be surprised. No, I wouldn't think that she could beat Nastigal just having her second start now. I think the other filly's got more experience and maybe is slightly better at this stage, but if she by chance did, it wouldn't surprise me just on what she does at home.
The joy of being a trainer, we've got 3 of you on the panel now. How many times does it happen to you when you have 2 in a race and the one that isn't really the fancied one comes up and surprises you and surprises some of your owners as well? If you were taking a pick 6, Candice, I'm going to ask you this, would you include both of your runners? To make sure,
as a
or would
trainer,
you say?
you would always like to include both your horses, just as a cover, and especially me because I'm always a fence sitter. But I'd like to think I could bank a Nastigal.
Brett's never been beaten by a stable companion, have you?
In Group 1.
Justin, you've got a runner. You've got Sparkling Fire, and she's basically put me in the poorhouse.
Oh, really? You're a brave man backing a 70 grand Bolt Silvano filly in Cape Town, China. That I can tell.
But she actually looks like a colt. She's a
yeah,
huge,
she's
big
a
beast
beautiful
of a filly.
filly. She's I've actually got a big canvas of her in my lounge, which I'll have to send proof of.
So I'm brave,
photo.
and you've got a canvas of her.
Correct. The other one I got a canvas on is Herodotus, and he won the other day, so maybe an omen. But she, like Brett's filly, what you see is what you get with her. Look, she's 6 runs, 6 places, and what more can you ask for? I just think she's held by Candice's filly on her front and centre run because Be Yourself beat her last time, and Be Yourself was behind Nastigal in that race. And in second was Juniper Spring, so that's where she's getting that 80 from. And if she runs that race, I think Nastigal will be next to impossible to beat. If she runs her last run behind Rocket Girl, then she's for the taking. But as Candice said, she was wide, took a bump. So she's the horse that everyone's got to beat. Our filly will be right there, especially from a good draw. And then I think Candice's other filly is worth including. I've gone 4, 5 and 8 in the pick 6.
4, 5 and 8 in the pick 6 for Justin. For Mark, I'd probably side with those numbers as well. Pitt, would you add anything else in there?
Looking at the race there, I think, I don't know if you call it Nastigal in Afrikaans, Nastigal in English, but I think she looks like a banker. Obviously, you've got to put in number 6, improving. If you my choice will be 4, 5, 6, 8.
4, 5, 6 and 8 for Pitt in the first leg of the jackpot. That should certainly see you through. It might be a race that just has a few more question marks lurking about it, and maybe one that you need to go a little bit wider. The Brave, if you want to listen to Candice, you might want to take a chance and possibly banker number 4, Nastigal, and Justin pretty much thinks that is the one to beat as well. Let's move on to race number 5, second leg of the jackpot, third leg of the pick 6, and I thought that this was quite a wide open race. But in saying that, number 2, All in Line, trained by Vaughan Marshall, looks to have nice improvements still to come. Has been improving each and every start and looks the one to beat. But Candice has got a couple of runners. She's got quite a few. Let's start with your 6, Master Design. What are you making of that one's chances?
Yeah, Grant, he's not a bad little horse. He was a cheap little horse. I think he cost 25 grand or 20 grand. Last time I put him over 2,000 because he gives you that impression at home that he wants ground, and I think the 2,000 at this stage is a little bit too far for him. So I brought him back to a mile, put a pair of blinkers on him just to try and sharpen him up a little bit more. He's a little bit one pace, but seems to finish 5th every time he runs, so quite possibly could finish 5th again. He's a star at this stage, so yeah.
Okay, Celestial Prince looks to have the best form. Good course and distance form. Does look to have improvement.
Yeah, he's a very nice horse, and he's a big strapping horse, and he was rather big his first run, and he actually ran a really good race despite being green. I mean, he ran on quite nicely. Bernard rode him first time out, and he was very surprised after what he felt at home, and he worked him again this morning, and he says he's come on a lot from that run. He still looks big and like he could do with a couple more runs, but he's a really nice horse. He's got a good draw, and I think if he makes the improvement that I think he has made, then I think he's definitely a runner there. And then out of the ordinary, horse that still needs a bit more time, Grant. He needs to improve a bit and strengthen up a little bit more. He's not drawn that well. He's drawn 10, so I think he's going to have to drop in. And yeah, I don't think he'll shape.
All right, out of the ordinary, his debut, not quite out of the ordinary, but probably, like you say, a bit more time. He might well come to it. Pitt, I know this race for you looks to be quite open, but All in Line and Candice's number 9, Celestial Prince, are they the 2 principals?
Yeah, I do fancy number 9. 9 from All in Line. But the horse you can't leave out is number 14. Canamay's horse, that ran a good race last time out. The Solution, I think you've got to add a horse, and then another horse you've got to add in as well as 11, JJ the Wolf.
Okay, well on that side of it, it's not going to be as open as, not as tight and easy to get through the first leg. So you've got 4 horses that you'll be putting on.
Yeah, but if you look at it, obviously if the other horse, the Barrister's got form, Fourie will ride the better one of the 2. So he's riding JJ the Wolf.
Okay, all right, so interesting stuff.
Obviously he must be the better of the 2, and the other one's got form. But sorry, just going back to race the first leg of the, you guys, I must personally think myself, that was 2 1-wheel, there's the out banker. And I think his biggest danger is number 8, Green Jacket, and then Cashmere, the other horse. But I'll say that the first leg,
Thank you.
I'll go 2, 8, 1.
Fantastic stuff. I think quite a few people will be looking at One World and saying that he's the bank opportunity there. Justin, I'm going to come to you. All in Line, improved each and every start. The jockey strike as well.
Yeah, obviously deep draw, but as I said earlier, the Durbanville's improved with these deeper draws. A lot of horses winning if they're good enough. And he's got the standout form. You look what he's run behind. Bunker Hunt won the other day in second, and that day was the future CTS ready to run winner Vasco Street Tractor in the second, who came out to win, and obviously behind Green Jacket last time. So strong form, definitely the horse to beat. Number 9, Celestial Prince, goes in the pick 6. The Duke of Marmalade have a Group 1 winning mare. Will improve on that last run from a good draw. And then I agree with Pete, number 14, The Solution. Draw 1 with Bernard up, improved run last time. Extra trip again, second run after layoff. He could surprise if the draw takes its toll on the favourite.
Brett, you always put up exotics on your Crawford Racing website. In terms of your pick 6 that you're going to be putting up on that site, who are you including?
Right, I think it's hard to look past All in Line. You know, those last 2 runs, I mean, Bunker Hunt came out and beat older horses. He's probably one of the first 3-year-olds that have come and done that since August. So I think he's a way above average 3-year-old. This horse has ran behind him. And, you know, you guys are tipping Green Jacket against One World. So he ran behind him. So I think his form's very strong. It's just the draw he's got to overcome. But I'm sure Anton will give him a good ride. So I like him. I think he's going to be a hard horse to beat, and I have respect for Candice's horse number 9.
All right, that was race number 5. Let's move on to race 6. Now, this is the first of the features. 250,000 rands up for grabs. It's the World Sports Betting Diana Stakes, the Group 3 event, and they're going 1,400 meters. It's almost a Snaith affair to a large degree in terms of the numbers of runners that they have, but there is Candice sitting here who's going to have her own thoughts because she's got number 11, Lasedi Larona, in the race, unbeaten at this stage, and could be anything.
It's exactly what it is, Grant. She's unbeaten with juvenile form. It's hard to say where she fits in with these older fillies. Obviously rate her as a really decent filly. I think she will improve as she goes along. I think she's improved since her juvenile races. She's come on quite nicely at home. Obviously they haven't had a run, so they're going into this run with just basically one gallop under their belts. And
has she galloped at Durbanville?
She's galloped at Durbanville. Yeah, she has galloped at Durbanville, so that's fine. But I mean, she hasn't raced around the turn either. So it's the first time she's racing around the turn in amongst older fillies and things. It's not always so easy for those younger fillies, but she's highly rated, and this is obviously a prep run for the Fillies Classic at the end of the month. She's doing well, and it would be nice to see where she fits in with these fillies. It's hard for me to say that I think she can win because I don't know. That's the bottom line, really. But I can just tell you that she's very nice.
She certainly has done nothing wrong this stage, and she could, as I said earlier on, she could be absolutely anything. You've also got number 2, Freedom Charter, who's fairly consistent without really blowing the house down.
Yeah, she's a very consistent filly, Grant. I think it's a very open race. It's a very difficult race. A lot of these fillies are coming off a break and they're having their first run back, she being one of them. She's doing well at home and she's had one gallop. I would love to have given her another gallop, but there hasn't been time for that. She's had to have injections and things after she's run, so she's quite a big filly. But Bernard galloped her the other day and he seems to think that's enough, but I think she might just need it a little bit. But as I say, there's nothing that really stands out here. I think it's a very open race. I think the only filly, number 1, Good Time Girl, she's one of the few fillies that has had a race back, and she's quite a decent filly on her day, Grant, especially over this sort of trip. And then obviously Justin's fillies, they're all decent, and I mean they're also having their first run back, so one doesn't know where they are or how fit they are or how ready they are. So I think it's a very open race.
Could this be a race to you that springs a surprise?
Definitely it can.
All right, Pete, let's go to you in terms of how you see race number 6. You've had a look at the form. You've seen that a couple of these runners, a lot of these runners are coming back from layoffs. How do you see it panning out?
I agree with Candice, very open race. I think it can be upset here. If you look at this, it's the horse that I tipped here is number 8 for first, second, Good Time Girl for second, number 1, Freedom Charter for third, but the horse that worries me love to boogie, number 3, and then another horse that I like is number 6, Miss Caitlin. It's if you look at the race, it's a race I think that we must add here. It's 1 or 2 most probably you can leave out, but this is the type of race where you can get upset.
Brett, in terms of you, you've obviously bumped some of these fillies with some of your runners. How would you pan out in terms of seeing this race?
I must say, Grant, the more I looked at this race, the harder it got. So for me, it's field.
Field for the exotics. Well, let's go to Justin, because Justin Snaith's got more runners in here than he's had highlights in his hair. But he's certainly got an opportunity to learn a feature race, and he's in top form the yard.
Looks like it, yeah. I think obviously Richard's gone with Angel's Trumpet, who's got the race fitness. I think Miss Caitlin with the draw, and she's very consistent and a little bit better in at the weights. So is Platinum Class. It's a very tough race. I went with everything bar 2 horses, I think. Very tough. If I had to pick a winner, I'd probably go with Good Time Girl. I know she won the race last year and she's got a good draw with Anton on. And she's got that race under the belt, a good run behind Nordic Breeze as well. And then obviously Candice Filly, number 11, she's got to be a massive runner. She's getting a lot of weight, but she's still out at the weights off her rating. But I think that she's going to be better than 95, put it that way. So I think the 3-year-olds this year, every year that conversation comes up, and I have a bit of a laugh at it because it doesn't. I think by the end of the year they all equal out. But I think this year the 3-year-old crop is nothing short of phenomenal. I know Sean's horse in Joburg, Chimichurri Run, he obviously beat the older horses and didn't come off the bridle. Probably ran 120 or something ridiculous. So I think the 3-year-olds are exceptional. We've seen it in Cape Town this year. A lot of them, more so than ever, are winning out the maidens in a handicap. first up, and off high ratings, you know. Pleased to meet you, although he ran against other also 3-year-olds, he won off a 92. Brett's filly the other day, Shamrock Wind, I think she won off an 88 or something. Rip It Up won off an 86. So they're very competitive off high marks out of maidens. I think it's a good crop, so I think she'll be a big runner with Good Time Girl, who I'd give a slight preference to win. But everything in the pick 6 bar, Hemero, and maybe Samsara.
How many times have you taken 8 horses out of a field and left 2 out and they come through and bitten you?
Once or twice, but it's not going to be Hemero. Although we got the jockey in the crowd here, so maybe that's a bad omen, but it's got about 15 lengths to find at the weight.
I think it's happened to quite a few people here in this room as well. Right, let's move on to the feature event of the afternoon. It's the 250,000 Rand World Sports Betting Matchem Stakes Group 3 event. They're going 1,400 metres, and this is a very high-class field. It's some of the horses that will be making a name for themselves during the Cape summer season, and a lot of them have actually made a name for themselves already. So I'm going to start off with Candace, because she's got a very interesting runner here for me in the form of Horizon, who's coming back from a fairly long time, and we know he's absolutely laden with class, and he hasn't always put it in, but if he decides to, he could win a race like this.
For sure, Grant, he can, but yeah, you know, he's one of those horses, he's got issues, he's not the soundest horse around, and we're going to go into the season pretty much the same way again this year. And I would love to gild him, but that's not going to happen. But yeah, he's got all the ability in the world. It wasn't a bad run, first run back after a long break. You know, he ran on quite nicely from the back of the field. 12 is miles too short for him. 14 also still a little bit on the sharp side for him. But he's the kind of horse that if you get him to switch off and there's a good pace, he's definitely got the ability to beat a field like this. I mean, he could probably beat a field like this quite comfortably. But, you know, I just don't know what you're going to get on the day. As I said, he's got lots of problems and things like that, which hold him back a little bit.
He's certainly going into my exotics, I can tell you that. Bernie, on the other hand, he's coming through, and this is definitely his toughest task.
Yeah, no, he's definitely thrown into the deep end here today, but you know, Grant, he's very much an improving horse. He's an honest horse and he's improving. He definitely, I think, is a sprinting type. 14, I think, is top distance. I don't think he goes further than that. He's just not that well in at the weights here today. I think it's a bit of an ask for him at the weights, but he's drawn pretty well. He races up handy, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him finishing in the money. He's just that kind of a horse. He's doing really well at the moment. He might be better suited to a race like the Merchants, where it's a handicap and he comes in with bottom weight. But you know, he's not. I wouldn't leave him out of quartets and things like that. He's an honest sort. And then our mate Art, he obviously won this race last year. I think this is his best distance. He doesn't really have a distance. This horse, I think 14 is probably his best distance. At 12, a little bit too sharp, and a mile is just a bit on the touch on the far side. Didn't really have a good Durban season. He didn't come well in Durban at all. He had a little break, and he had a good prep run the other day over 1,000 meters. He was running on well. He's taken his run very well. He's drawn one, and I think he'll run well again on Saturday. Wouldn't surprise me to see him winning a race like this again. I think Rainbow Bridge is a hard horse to beat. Just on, you know, he's really a classy sort, and he's done nothing wrong. He's obviously coming back from a little bit of a break, but other than that, I think it's quite an open race.
In terms of our mate Art, would it be fair to say that we probably haven't seen his true potential, because he's shown so much? We actually thought he was going to be a bit of a superstar.
Yeah, he's a funny horse, Grant. He likes to run fresh. His first couple of runs fresh, he runs well, and then after he's had a couple of runs, he just sort of doesn't quite hold his form like he should do. And he doesn't really have a proper distance. He's best, I think, over 1,400, and we're so limited to 1,400 meter races. You start going a little bit further with him, and then he just doesn't finish off his races, and he's just not quite quick enough in a sprint. But I think this season in Cape Town, I'm probably going to go the sprint route distance with him, distance-wise. I think it'll be easier for him at Kenilworth than what it is up in Natal, and we'll take it from there. But this is usually his race. He comes well at this time of year, enjoys the trip, he's drawn well, and I think he enjoys it. He's working well, he looks great.
So he definitely needs to go into calculations. Pitt, in terms of the Matchem 2018, brought to you by World Sports Betting, who's your winner?
If you look at the field, should be one winner here. It's number 6, Copper Force. He ran second to Legal Eagle at level weights, but in this time of the year, the horses go in circles, they're coming right. I really do fancy this horse. If you put Legal Eagle in a race with 57.5, he got beaten under half a length. But obviously you got to go with Tapo North. Almate Art, Rainbow Bridge. But the danger horse is 6, Copper Force. So I'll go 1, 3, 4, 8. But that's horse against horse upset, Copper Force.
All right, so 6 is Copper Force. That's where Pitt's leaning towards. And we know he's got the ability. There's no doubting that. And he could certainly make a nice return here as well. Brett, in terms of these runners here, you've bumped a couple of them, especially Tappenoff. I think you've met him a few times, both here in Cape Town and in KZN. He's a decent individual on his day. He's obviously got loads of class as well. But he's also got a strong field here as well with an unbeaten type like Rainbow Bridge in here. So where are you leaning towards?
Grant, to be honest, I think those are the two horses that will contest. You know, obviously we're not sure how good Eric's horse is. On ratings alone, he's got many lengths to find. You know, he's about 15 pounds out at the weights with Tappenoff. But, you know, he's unbeaten, so you have to respect that he's done everything asked of him. So I definitely think he's got a chance. But for me, Tappenoff, you know, if you look at his form, I mean, he's run in group company. He's won group races. A lot of these other horses are pretenders to the throne. They're highly rated horses, but they're winning pinnacle plates against each other. For me, Tappenoff, he's the right horse in the race. The danger could come from Rainbow Bridge. We don't know how good he is. But Tappenoff, blinkers on, back to 1400, I think will be right up his alley. So for me, he's going to be a hard horse to beat.
Would you bank him or would you put a couple in with him?
No, I'd put the unbeaten horse in. You have to respect him. So I would go those two.
2 horses for Brett. Justin, how are you seeing this race?
Yeah, I agree with Brett. I think this horse is more of a good thing than the younger horse earlier on, One World. I think he'll, you know, when you compare the form of who he's been running against, he's a Group 1 winner. You know, in his profiles, would do it again, Surcharge, Captain America. In like Rainbow Bridge, I know he's unbeaten, but he's beaten Blue Roller and Rocket Countdown. There's like divisions between horses. In saying that, he's still lightly raced, and he obviously went the winter route. And horses like Whiskey Baron and Marinaresco, they looked the same as well. Like they hadn't proven it against strong company, but they ended up improving and doing so. And I know Bernard's been working him at home, and he thinks he's a big runner in a race like the Queen's Plate. So obviously he feels like he can go to that division. But I'm always with the proven horses, so I think Tappenoff is a win bet on the card, and he must go in. And Pete's right with Copper Force and the stablemate 50 cents. They actually waited to beat Tappenoff, but you know, on the numbers because they're receiving a bit of weight. But at the end of the day, I think there's more than 2 kilos in ability between them. I think Tappenoff's a much better horse, so I think he'll win from Rainbow Bridge 50 cents. 50
cents, interesting runner because 4 starts at Durbanville.
Yeah, loves
4
the
wins.
Course. Absolutely loves the course, and he's had a run under his belt. He beat a decent Pinnacle field last time, giving them weight. So he's got an in-form rider and trainer combo as well. But he's never proven at any stage in his career to be anywhere near the likes of Tappenoff on if they, you know, all things being equal.
Right, that was race number 7, the feature. We're going to go straight into the 8th race. World Sports Betting. They're open 24/7, and their support system 086. This is 0103393, a maiden plate, and here they're going 1600 metres. Candice has got 2 runners again. I'm going to finish with her this time round. The Snates have got the Suit, who's been quite costly to follow. I think he's been a favourite that's been beaten a few times. You've also got the likes of Spring Fling, and then Jeff Woodruff and Lucinda have got number 1 Barano. How are you seeing the 8th?
Grant, I think this horse Spring Fling is a good win bet. He ran a cracking good race first up, coming from a long way back after being slow. He's got a good draw and he's going to love going a mile. I think he's the horse to beat. PA Banker in the last. I've backed him up in the pick 6 with number 12, the twice over out of Model Man Mare. He'll improve going the trip. And then the other horse I've gone for is number 11, Naturalist. He's a full brother to Broadway Trip, who's a very good horse of Alec Leds, who's undefeated at a stage. I think he got an injury, hasn't run in a while. He's drawn 1. That second run I don't think was his ability. His first run behind Crown Towers was pretty good. And I think over the mile, probably the improvement will come, but Candice will help us out there with that one.
Your pick 6 numbers?
11, 12, 13.
Right down the bottom of the words, huh?
That's it.
Okay, right. Pete, I'm going to go to you next. Race number 8, in terms of your exotics and what you've included, what are you liking?
I do like this was number 13. Very good run first time out. I'll pick him for first. Second, I'll go for number 10. Mist of Time, and then third, Naturalist, number 11, and fourth, number 12, Quest.
Right, so Pitt's included 2 of your runners, Candice, so you've got some support there. We go to you before that, Brett. In terms of how the 8th race looks to be panning out, Barano, Spring Fling, and the 2 best runners, are they enough for the pick 6?
I would think so, Grant. I personally like 12 and 13, I think. I don't know, Candice's horse looks like it's got room for a lot of improvement, so if you're going to play 2, you may as well put 3.
Candice, obviously naturalist, great run behind a very highly regarded and highly touted horse, Crown Towers. Next time out, were you a little bit disappointed or not really?
Really, it was drawn 11 out of 11, Grant, in the soft going at Durbanville, and it just didn't work. He was at the back of the field, and it didn't really work out for him at all that day. So you can put a line through his last run. He'll run a much better race on Saturday. He's got a good draw, goings on top. He's quite a nice horse, and he definitely must go in. He's got a nice turn of foot, and obviously you need to include the 12 and 13. 13 is a good-looking horse of Glenn Cotson's. He's a really good-looking colt, a Water Winter colt. The other horse of mine, Miss of Time, he's quite a nice horse. He's looking for a 2-4 trip, but his last run also, he's been gelded. His first run back after gelding over a little bit more ground was a much improved run, and I think he'll improve a bit more over a little bit further on Saturday. So he's certainly a horse that can finish right up with these horses, and probably will be best over 2,000, but he's quite a nice horse, and I wouldn't leave him out.
You had a bit of a sparkle in your eye there when you spoke about Naturalist. You fairly keen on a big run for him?
Yeah, he's a nice horse. He's quite a heavy horse, Grant. He could probably be better off being gelded, but at the moment I'd like to get a win under the belt before I do that. And yeah, I think he'll go well on Saturday.
Right, that's the panel's decision in terms of race number 8. I'm going to give them a couple of seconds just to work out who they think possibly is the best bet on the card, and they don't have to choose the 6 to 10 shot or the even money shot. They might be able to find us a little bit of value with some of their runners if it's a Brett or a Candice horse, or even maybe a Green Street horse. So I'll start with you. Let me put you on the spot first, Justin. Your best bet?
Race 2, Give Me the Rain.
Right, Give Me the Rain for Justin. Bank of the PA, maybe the start of some all to come.
Bank of the PA, all to come with Tappernot, Spring Fling, and then maybe this horse Nastagal, if you're a Dutchman. Although I'd hate to go, my horse will come and find me and I'll look like a right toss. So probably better to find something else, somewhere, maybe in the first. Louisa May.
All right, best bet for Justin, Give Me the Rain. Candice, from you, your best runner and your best bet for us?
I think I'm going to go with Nastigal. And then each way with Celestial Prince. I think he's got a good each way shout. And then the rest of the card I think is difficult. I've got good each way chances, but the feature races I think are difficult on the day. I think it's a hard race to choose, and maybe my horse in the last Naturalist, but I do think we've got the 15 to beat.
All right, brilliant. Brett, best bet?
At least.
Grant, I think Louisa May will she's definitely my best runner on the day. So I think hopefully she can start the punters off in good form. And then in the second race, I would take the exactors. I think Justin's horse will be very hard to beat, but I'll take exactors with Best Day of My Life.
Who is Louisa May?
Who is Louisa May?
Other than the horse, who is it named after?
It's a trick question. I have no idea.
You have no idea? Okay.
Teresa, my sister.
Teresa May's sister. That's one way of doing a Brexit. Yes, Pitt, your best bet.
Without any doubt, 1 world. Number 2 in the third race. But looking at the card, I mean, I'm not a big punter, but your money you make if you want to, it's especially your trifectas, your place doubles. If you look at it, your place doubles. That's where you make your money. Trifecta, swingers, play. So basically, the public should go when the horses have been tipped, and if I got a play, you can place a place double from race 1 right through, and you get a good payout on that.
Will you show me your ticket on Saturday?
I will afterwards, yes.
Right, that's a wrap from us here for our panel discussion. A big thank you to the team, from Pitt to Fee, Brett Crawford, Candice, thanks very much for coming through. Justin as well. I'll be chatting to you again on Saturday morning with John O'Snaith, as you say. And a fantastic card. We can't believe that it's this time of the year already, that we're starting to branch into our feature season. So much good racing, so many quality horses lining up, and a big thank you to World Sports Betting. If you're going to have a bet and you haven't got an account with them, they're saying that they'll match up to 10,000 Rand. You open a bet account with them, you put 10,000 Rand, they're going to put 10,000 Rand in as well. You've got 20,000 Rand to play your bets. And maybe you should be putting it, if you're Brett Crawford, you'll be putting it on Louisa May. If you're Justin, you'll be putting it on.
Give me the rain.
Give me the rain. Maybe there's the double for you as well. But guys, thanks very much for joining us. And we look forward to some fantastic racing out at Durbanville. Final comment before you go. Durbanville, with the market, it's been a great place to race and a nice crowd and a nice atmosphere.
Big hit, big success, and I think a small sign of what's coming in the Cape Summer season. We're upping the ante, and we've got the best product in the country to sell, so we're going to deliver this season, and I think it's going to be a fantastic champion season.
Ask Andrew Fortune. He keeps looking for Cape Town horses to take up to Johannesburg because they are absolutely cleaning up. Guys, thanks very much, and we certainly hope to see you out at Durbanville on Saturday. From us here at the beautiful Vasco, thanks to Bryn Wessel and his team. The food's been outstanding as per usual. We haven't finished our drinks yet, but we'll be doing so now. Good night.